So these are the things that we need to understand how we really operate. Our bodies play a big role, right? So we need to understand how our bodies work. When you are disconnected, as I said, you tense or you're filled with fear. You you begin to channel negative things because your mind becomes clouded. You can't breathe. You are restricted. Your energy starts leaking out, and the outside influences can now interfere. That's why fear is a big program in the matrix, in this game, in this life, right? In this reality, fear is a big program to keep people disempowered, to keep people not centered in themselves, right? That's why we have all these negative newses. Every time Mr. Trump says something that makes the whole world shake, people get afraid. People are preparing for World War III. People are preparing for some negative event because of all the negative things. Right now, remember that these things haven't really happened, but because of your mind is so creative, you start thinking about the worst scenario and then you start creating it. Now, unconsciously, we as human beings can actually create and bring forth this third world war drama, right? Just by us focusing on negative things all the time. Each time we hear something negative said by a politician, you get triggered, you get afraid, you live in fear. Now, what are you doing? You're now creating it, you're bringing it forth, it's becoming your reality. So, all 8 billion of us can create a negative event by us just focusing on all those things. That is why in spirituality now, we are a lot of spiritual um, content creators and teachers telling people to focus on the lights, always think positive, because if we're all going to be thinking negative, we're all going to create this big catastrophe, this big event that's going to actually be very painful. Right. Now, let me continue. Now we speak about the body being a vessel. Since the body is a vessel, the body can also be used to channel information from spirit outside, right? Spirit outside of the physical world, right? So channeling is a process of allowing spiritual energy, wisdom, and frequency to move through your consciousness. So channeling, I'm sure you've heard about channeling. It's all over the internet now, right? A lot of people are coming through and they're saying that I'm a channeler. I channel this spirit like Bashar, Daryl Anchor, channels Bashar, and others. There's so many others, other channelers, right? Now remember that it seems like channeling is something that it's only meant for certain people, right? But channeling is also a very mundane process as well, right? For example, when you're inspired, right, your creativity then expands. Words, speaking, writing, teaching, inspired speech is also part of being channeled. But remember that every single person, every single soul has a higher consciousness. Every single person here with a soul has a higher consciousness, your higher self. Your higher self can help channel messages through you when you are excited about something, like if you're an artist and stuff like that. We see it a lot on where people are artists that they get into a zone, they get into the zone of, and they're just like enjoying what they're doing. That's a form of channeling. Like somebody who's even a teacher, you end up like, get into that sweet spot, that zone where you enjoy what you're doing, and hours can go by and you're still excited and you don't even get exhausted and tired because you are focused, and you get, and spirit, your higher self, or even your guides are using you and helping you to send a message to humanity. Like for example, when people are like doing tarot readings as well, that can also happen then when you are doing tarot. You understand? And now you can get messages when you're doing the reading tarot. And this is what happens to me when I'm reading my tarot, because I do read tarot on my TikTok. I get downloads and messages for certain people. I'm not asking for this thing, it just happens. It's like spirit can use you to convey an important message to somebody, to uplift them, to make them feel better about life, because in this life a lot of people are going through traumatic experiences, they're feeling sad. So you as a person can also be a channeler, right? Anybody, when you're singing a nice music in the church, if you go to church, right, spirit is using you to express something, that love through that music, Remember that any person can be used and become a channeler. Even an author that writes books, they go into a zone and then they're just writing and they're flowing. That in that zone they can write for hours and hours and hours. But sometimes they can get a block. They call writer's block. Now they don't have inspiration. Remember, once you have that inspiration, Spirit is now using you, your vessel, to convey a message through. You understand? Very important as well. Okay. So what is channeling? As I said, channeling is a process of spirits, allowing spirits, a process of allowing spirits or energy or your guides or source, energy, wisdom, or frequency to move through you consciously. You're in the zone, you're inspired, you love what you're doing, you understand it, it's bringing you joy, it's giving you satisfaction. Like, for example, dancers or even musicians, any person that does any type of expression is also, excuse me, performing a form of channeling. Excuse. You understand? So people think that channeling is some woo-woo thing that is not only for special people. Every person has a moment where they think they're channeling something. You understand? It's nothing to be afraid of. It's nothing to be afraid of. Channeling is a normal thing. You understand? It's a normal thing. It happens all the time. Right? So as I said, let me continue. So word speaking, creating, teaching, inspired speech. Also, as I said, art and music, expressing creative expression guided by divine flow, as I said earlier on. Healing, transmuting or transmitting high frequencies to others like Reiki. Reiki healing. Spirit can use you to heal somebody. Now that is part of channeling as well. That is channeling as well. You understand? You're channeling a high frequency energy that's healing.